What it does: Linux boot failure occurs when the operating system is unable to load properly, often due to issues with the GRUB bootloader or file system errors. In this tutorial, we'll explore how to fix GRUB rescue and fsck errors, which are common causes of Linux boot failures. Command/example. Breaking it down. Let's break down each command. Sudo grub version. This command checks the version of GRUB installed on the system. It's essential to know the version to ensure compatibility with other tools and to troubleshoot issues. Sudo update GRUB. This command updates the GRUB configuration file, which is responsible for loading the operating system. It scans the system for available kernels and generates a new GRUB menu. Sudo fscktext4/dev/sda1. This command checks the file system for errors. The T option specifies the file system type, which in this case is ext4. The /dev/sda1 argument specifies the device to check. Sudo fscktext4/dev/sda1. This command fixes file system errors. The Y option automatically answers yes to any prompts, allowing the command to run non-interactively. Sudo grub install recheck /dev/sda. This command reinstalls GRUB on the specified device. The recheck option forces GRUB to recheck the device for available kernels. Common mistakes. Common mistakes when fixing GRUB rescue and fsck errors include: forgetting to update the GRUB configuration file after making changes to the system, not specifying the correct file system type when running fsck, not using the Y option when running fsck non-interactively, which can cause the command to prompt for input and fail, not reinstalling GRUB after fixing file system errors, which can cause the system to fail to boot. Try this next. To practice fixing GRUB rescue and fsck errors, try the following. Simulate a GRUB rescue error by deleting the GRUB configuration file and then trying to boot the system. Use the fsck command to check for file system errors on a non-root device, such as a USB drive. Practice reinstalling GRUB on a virtual machine or a test system. Pro tip: in production environments, it's essential to have a backup plan in place in case of a Linux boot failure. This can include regularly backing up the GRUB configuration file and other critical system files, having a rescue disk or USB drive available with the necessary tools to fix GRUB and file system errors, implementing a monitoring system to detect potential issues before they cause a boot failure. What it does: internally, when the system boots, the BIOS or UEFI firmware loads the GRUB bootloader, which then loads the operating system. If GRUB is not properly configured or if there are file system errors, the system will fail to boot. Command/example. Breaking it down. Let's break down the GRUB configuration file. The GRUB CFG file contains a list of available kernels and boot options. The menu entry directive specifies a boot option, which can include a kernel, initerd, and boot parameters. The set directive sets a variable, such as the root device or the bootloader. Common mistakes. Common mistakes when editing the GRUB configuration file include: forgetting to update the GRUB, CFG file after making changes to the system. Not specifying the correct kernel or initerd when creating a new boot option. Not using the correct syntax when editing the GRUB. CFG file, which can cause GRUB to fail to load. Try this next. To practice editing the GRUB configuration file, try the following. Add a new boot option to the GRUB. CFG file. Edit an existing boot option to change the kernel or boot parameters. Practice using the grub config command to generate a new GRUB. CFG file. Pro tip. In production environments, it's essential to test changes to the GRUB configuration file before rebooting the system. This can include using a virtual machine or test system to test changes, creating a backup of the original GRUB CFG file before making changes, implementing a version control system to track changes to the GRUB CFG file. What it does: file system errors can occur due to a variety of reasons, including power failures, disk errors, or software bugs. The fsck command is used to check and fix file system errors. Command/example. Breaking it down. Let's break down the fsck command. The T option specifies the file system type, which in this case is ext4. The /dev/sda1 argument specifies the device to check. The Y option automatically answers yes to any prompts, allowing the command to run non-interactively. Common mistakes. Common mistakes when using the fsck command include not specifying the correct file system type, not using the Y option when running fsck non-interactively, not checking the file system for errors before fixing them. Try this next. To practice using the fsck command, try the following. Check a non-root device, such as a USB drive, for file system errors. Fix file system errors on a virtual machine or test system. Practice using the fsck command with different file system types, such as XFS or BTRFS. Pro tip. In production environments, it's essential to regularly check the file system for errors and fix them promptly. This can include scheduling regular fsck checks using a tool like cron, implementing a monitoring system to detect file system errors, having a backup plan in place in case of a file system failure. By following these steps and practicing with the fsck and grub commands, you'll be well on your way to becoming a Linux expert and fixing boot failures like a pro. Remember to always test changes in a non-production environment and to have a backup plan in place. With these skills, you'll be able to troubleshoot and fix even the most complex Linux boot failures.